where we talk about current events and living in an intersex life. And now, here's Juleigh.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rosé All Day. Juleigh's a Mess. It is our 25th episode, that's crazy to me. 25 episodes. I never would have thought that it would have run this long. I thought that I would have run out of wind around the 10th episode. But we have made it to 25, which is a testament to a lot of things and a lot of people. And I want to thank Russell Johns and Associates and my team there for allowing me to have this platform and to put these kind of weekly podcasts together, and to our family at Apple iTunes and Spotify and Blurry and all the wonderful people that carry our show. Thank you for your involved commitment to Rosé All Day and Juleigh's a Mess, and in just educating about what it's like to be in a very intersex space. Lots going on this week, but let's start off by, I'm driving after this show. What? We are always looking for a wine sponsor, but I am driving. So this evening, instead of drinking a rosé, I am drinking good old Shasta fruit punch. Mixing it up a little bit. But next week we will come back with a rosé. Have a lot going on. My house looks like a bomb went off. I'm trying to keep this corner of the house done up and pretty for my show each week. But in reality, I am busy packing my house as I get ready to move back across the country and residing somewhere in the South. So that's interesting, and I have that going on. This is actually my last month in Nebraska. This week, joining us all the way from Orlando, Florida, is a good friend of mine. In the promo, I teased him as being Jake the Cake. We're going to absolutely make sure he tells that story. But first off, everybody, it is Jake Kretchmar. How are you, Jake?
I'm good. Thank you so much for including me in your show and for inviting me on. It's definitely a pleasure.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you got the memo that we both wear something gray. You're in your gray t-shirt. I'm in my gray boob shirt. Jake, how long have we known each other?
We've known each other for, I want to say, about 5-6 years, maybe. We go back quite a ways. So, but I met you through a really good friend, Sean Lewis, and we went to Universal. I think that was the first time we met. And yeah, that's another story.
It's okay. It's my show. Let's tell them that story. So when I first met Jake, he's going to love this now. So when I first met Jake, my friend Sean had taken us to go see, to go to Universal. I think we were going to, there was a bar there at City Walk. I think
I think it was Rising Star.
Rising Star, where they do karaoke with a live band. Real fast, I want to say hi to everybody. Hi, Blair. Hi, Charlie. If you're watching us live on YouTube, you can absolutely come in and comment on the show. A lot of people often do. And you want to just join the live chat to do that, we can read your questions and talk to you as that goes on. So I just wanted to say that hi to everybody that's joining us. So Universal Studios Rising Star is a bar on City Walk where they have a live band, and you can do karaoke performing with a live band. So a lot of people like doing that. So we were going there that night, and Sean's like, I want you to meet my friend Jake, and he's going to bring his husband, Joseph, with him. And so Joseph is really reserved. Like he's quiet, and it takes a couple of meetings to get to know him. And Joseph and I definitely started off, I think, on the wrong foot, but that's okay. I mean, we fixed everything later. But Jake is very energetic and off the, I mean, he's like he is here. So he's very like, he wants to get to know you, and he's very energetic, and he's, you know, all hands on deck. He wants to know you. And so we, you know, at City Walk in Orlando, I don't know if any of you ever been, but you have to go through like 4 or 5 escalators and parking to just get to security. And then you go through security, and then you go through like 9 of those moving sidewalks. And then you have to go down like 5 more escalators before you even get to City Walk. It's literally like the biggest airport you've ever been in your life, except you never make it to luggage. I mean, that's how big this place is. So we're on this long trek from security, and Jake keeps looking at me and saying, where do I know you from? I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from? And I was just standing there, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe I have one of those faces. I wasn't in a bad mood, but I was kind of like in well, Jake knows. I was kind of just in like a, what is this?
Whatever.
Kind of mood.
Yeah, like kind of like, yeah, like, you know, whatever kind of deal.
And
yeah.
Jake kept going, well, I know you from somewhere. And so like, Sean, our other friend.
That was the key punchline, I think. You look really
Hold on. We'll get to that punchline. So this is Joseph and this is Jake. Joseph and Jake, right? And then standing down below Joseph and Jake was me in front of Jake, and then Sean. So the 4 of us are riding these escalators up and down. And Jake keeps looking down at me, and he's like, I know you from somewhere. And Sean was like, well, she's done TV. She's done Glee and The Mentalist. And Sean and Jake was like, no, it's not those shows. So Sean's like spouting out my whole resume. And I'm just like, good Lord. Because everybody was starting to like look from all the other escalators. And I'm just kind of like, any of those. It could have been from any of those. And Jake keeps going, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. Well, I love Jake now, but in that moment, I was like, shut up. Like in my head, I was like, shut up, figure it out. Because he was just like, where do I know you from? I know you. And it seemed it went on for like 30 minutes. So then he totally, I turned around and I looked Jake straight in the eyes. And I said to him with just this blank expression on my face, I said, you watch a lot of porn, don't you? Y'all, Jake.
Like, what?
Jake was like, what? And he almost fell off the escalator. And Joseph, his husband, started laughing and was like, well, he does watch a lot of porn. And Jake's like, I like, you could totally tell Jake was like, you do porn? Like, and I was like, no, but that was like the icebreaker.
It was funny though, because in my head, I was thinking like, oh my God, you do kind of look like you could be a porn star. And so that's what like caught me off guard. I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to like, it was awkward. Cause like at the time I was like, it kind of felt weird, like thinking of you as a porn star. And I didn't want you to know that I was thinking of you as a porn star. So when you said that, it totally caught me off guard. Like, oh my God, she knows that I thought of her as a porn star. Like, so
I think that's funny. And I think inherently that's funny because when somebody says, that's kind of what our Juleigh's a mess story has to do with tonight, not being a porn star, but I think a lot of people would be really offended. And I'm like, oh, you think I'm a porn star? Like, because that's totally my aesthetic is like pageant girl, porn star. Like I blur the lines between being a pageant girl or a porn star. Like I like that aesthetic. So even though I think, whatever. So like I would never do porn. Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying I thought it was funny too in the moment. Everybody was like, I mean, it broke the ice and it got us, and we finally got off the escalators and we're able to go to Rising Stars. So
yeah, that's like, and that's one story, like one of the many stories that I'll never forget about you. So
we have a lot of fun. You and I get in a lot of trouble and have a lot of fun. I said earlier, Joseph knows that you can be naughty. And for those listening or just tuning in, Joseph is Jake's partner, husband. But he kind of in public, Joseph's like that very like old school, will be like, not here, there's a time and a place. But he knows that whenever I'm with Jake forgets that there's a time and a place. And so if I'm being dirty or not being dirty, Jake inevitably jumps on that bandwagon and starts to be dirty too. And then we both get in trouble.
Well, it's funny because like Joseph is the kind of person like you at home, he's all like you know, yeah, like super like into, you know, being intimate and like, you know, doing things but in public, like, you know, like we were just getting comfortable like holding hands and just like, you know, blowing kisses in public, but he would never be like into like wearing like, you know, the pride shirts and being like, like romance in public. Like he's just
like Sean and Randy are.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, he's yeah, very reserved and very just like, you know, I don't want to like, you know, show the whole world my gayness, even though
right. Like Chris G.
Yeah, very much like Chris G. Although Chris G is
Chris G is changing though. I think Chris G is
more
changing.
open, I think, nowadays than he used to be like many years ago. He like, when I first met him, he wasn't even really out. So like that was way back in like 2012.
And now he's totally out.
Oh my gosh, now he's absolutely, and he's proud, which is wonderful.
Which is great. Yeah,
it's wonderful. I more people, you know, should be like that. They just proud to not just to be out, but just to be themselves, to be who they are, and to really express themselves. So I think that's so important.
I do too, and I think that just, and we're going to talk a little bit. I told you already about mental health at the end of the show because I have to mention something, but it's just so important to embrace who you are and to really not hide what's going on, you know, and just kind of, that's really important too. So, okay. So we are moving into current events. Yeah. So this is a part of the show where you talk about current events. This is where I like to get people involved. So if you're watching at home and you want to get involved, right? Because we like to pick your brain too and know what you're thinking as well. But our first current event topic is talking about Hurricane Ida. She made landfall. She made landfall. And thankfully, not a lot of deaths. I think I heard this afternoon 4 people so far have died or have been found dead. That's huge. I think that's great.
That number could rise, though. I mean,
it could rise. It could. But I mean, I think initially that's good. I know a lot of people in Louisiana are without power. I know, and that's with any natural disaster. And we see that every year in hurricane season. So hopefully that will get resolved quickly for some of these people that are at home in these states. There is a lot of chaos going on because of the storm. So a woman woke up this morning in Alabama and found a family of manatees in her backyard.
That's crazy.
In Mobile, Alabama. Now, Mobile is not far away from the coast or from the rivers, but I mean, manatees in your backyard?
Insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost as bad as finding like an alligator right at your front door. But I don't know what's worse.
My friend Charlie is saying that they are reporting in his area some could be 5 to 6 weeks without power.
Yeah. I mean, what's also sad about it too is like being that, you know, a southern state, you know, they're already dealing a ton with COVID-19, with the Delta variant. So now they have to deal with that and damage repair from the hurricane. And you know, hospitals are already overwhelmed.
Well, I definitely have to say, I think if you're in your own home, even if you're not in your own home, but I think one of the smartest things that people can get for a natural disaster and just keep it in your garage is a generator. Just get a generator.
I mean, that's what people are living off of right now, are generators, especially if they don't have power for 5 weeks. And
yeah.
I mean, that's just common sense. You know, like that's one of the first things that I think of whenever I hear like, news of like that a hurricane or tropical storm or anything is possibly coming to Florida, I'm like, okay, where can I get a generator? So, but 99% of the time I never do, because the Orlando storm threats never really materialize.
Well, I mean, they do. I used to in high school during Hurricane Andrew and some of those things. I was witnessed. I mean, I saw trees fly through people's houses.
Ooh.
So, I mean, you definitely You definitely
can.
want to be careful in all parts of Florida. But I see what you're saying, city wise. But
yeah, I just feel like it's inland enough. Like I mean, in the 8 years that I've been living here, it's never. I mean, the craziest thing we've had is Irma.
Yeah.
Years ago, and that wasn't like we lost power for like a day, not even. Then it was quickly restored. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely scarier by the coast or any real coastal regions. Like that's where because then you deal with storm surge.
Yep.
It's like, ooh.
Talking about the pandemic and the Delta variant brings me up to our next current event, which is article just released an hour ago on CNN, but also in Newsweek, stating that due to the pandemic last year, due to jobs being at an all-time low from people losing them because of the pandemic, they're saying that they now have reevaluated and that funds and benefits for Medicare recipients, and I'm on Medicare because of my disability, will run out in 2034, a year earlier than they had previously predicted. And they said that Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits will run out in 2026. So in 5 years. And that, so that program, they say, will be dead in 5 years.
What about
Social Security benefits will run out in 2034.
Right.
And when you think about it like that, people are either going to have to work for the rest of their life or
they're going to die.
They're going to die.
They can't work the rest of their lives. I mean, especially like if they're not just if they're older, but like if they're what if they're disabled and they can't find a job that's, I mean, it's so that's just awful. I can't imagine.
Crazy. It's crazy.
It's insane. That's why I feel like it's now more important than ever to save. Save for your 401k, retirement. I mean, make smart money decisions, like, because if you don't do that now, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, to an extreme.
Yeah, like here I am looking for a husband. I've got to look for a husband that has good financial strategy planning.
Or you win the lottery.
Or I win the lottery, and then I can get a husband that's just young and hot and wears Speedos around the house.
Of course.
I'll still make him make money. I'll put him into porn. And
that's right.
Like, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. And then you'll be like, to other people will be like, you look familiar. You'll be like, you watch.
I'll be like, you probably have seen him in porn. I pimp him out. We have to have good financial planning. So anyway, those were the two. The other current event that I was going to talk about was a judge in Ohio ordered a local hospital to give COVID-19 patients a drug called ivermectin, and it's actually used to rid parasites in horses. So other people have heard about this story and they've gone out and bought all of the horse, because, like Tractor Supply stores have an abundance of horse medication. So regular people are going out and buying all the horse medication and then taking it instead of going and getting the vaccines, which you think you're taking horse medicine. And then a woman was just arrested and charged in New York for selling falsified vaccination cards for $200 a pop. So it's already like,
I just, that goes back to conspiracy theorists. Like, I mean, people have been messing and playing games with this for so long. And I just feel like there's an attitude of, if it doesn't affect me, it's not important. Just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean that millions of people are not dying, because they are. I mean, it's just a lack of people really taking this seriously and listening to medical experts and just common sense, being logical, and listening to the science. I mean, why would you not believe in science? That's what I'll never understand. Is like, okay, I understand religion. I understand there's religion. And I understand that having a faith in God is very important. But that doesn't mean that you should just be like, F you to reality. And I just feel like that's what too many people are doing nowadays.
What are your parents? We've talked about your parents before, because they're in a different type of religion.
Right.
What is their take on all this?
They take it seriously. They do. And I mean, they're logical. Look, both my parents are vaccinated, which is very good. I'm very happy about that. I mean, obviously it's tough, because I don't think they really know what it's like to be underprivileged, and to, even if they say they do, which is great, which is good, you can have empathy, but until you experience hardship like other people, like people who make less than 5-figure incomes, and until you experience the struggle, you're never really going to understand.
Right. I get so mad at Miscavige for that. I say, you should really, it's a privilege to date me, but you should really, put your finger on the pulse of humanity, Miscavige, and quit talking to Tom over there and spend some more time in the real world.
Right.
That's an inside joke for Jake and I. So we're not. Okay, so now we're at a part of the show called Juleigh's a Mess. Juleigh's a Mess. This story is coming directly from this past week. It's called Juleigh's a Mess. So I'm going to tell a story. If you haven't seen this show before or joined us before, I'm going to tell a story from my past. This happens to be last week. And then Jake, I'm going to stop telling the story midway through. And Jake, based on how long he's known me and what he knows me to be like and how many times he's been with me in public and how I don't have a filter, he's going to try and finish the story for everybody listening. And then we'll laugh about it and I'll tell him what really happened. Or he may get it. My friend Charlie always pegs the story and nails it. So let's start. So 2 nights ago, I went to a casino in Carter Lakes, Iowa. And in that casino, I call it Prairie Dog Casino, but it's really called Prairie Flower. And so I went to this casino and I walked in and I'd had a rough weekend. And all I wanted to do was I stuck $20 in a machine. I wanted to just play the lowest denomination bet that I could on the machine, which on this machine was 20 cents. And I just wanted to play and be left alone. I went with friends and I just separated from the friends, as I often do at a casino. And I just wanted to go away and be on my own. So
sounds familiar.
So I'm sitting at this slot machine and this older gentleman approaches me. And he says, "Hi, what's your name?" And I said, "Jules." My friends just call me Jules. And went back to my game. And he went, "Hi, Jules, can I buy you a beer?" And I said, "No, thank you. No, I don't want a beer."
Gotcha.
And so then he goes, "Okay." And he walked away. And I looked at the Asian woman playing next to me and I said, "Thank God." About 5 minutes later, he circles back around with his beer and he comes up and he was like, "What kind of men are you into? Are you alone?" And I thought, great, I'm going to get sex trafficked right here in this skanky casino. And I looked at him and I said, "I'm not alone. I'm here with friends. They're somewhere in here. And the kind of men I'm into is not any of your business." So I go back to playing my game.
No kidding. That's creepy.
So then the guy next to me leaves and he comes back for a third time and sits down in the seat next to me, and he turns and he's looking at me like this as I'm playing the game. And he's like, "So what kind of men are you into? What's your age range?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, "My age range is 24 to," and in my head quickly, I looked at him and sized him up to guess like what age he would be and made sure that I went way lower. Even though my age range is like 24 to like 55, I was like 24 to 50. And he went, "Well, I'm a spry 62.
A spry 62.
And I said, "Neat. That's great. Good for you." And I went back to my game. At this point, I wasn't paying attention to the game and I was irritated and just felt icky. So I cashed out. I grabbed my ticket and I went and found another machine to sit down at on the other end of this casino on the way back side, thinking I'm just getting far away from everybody. And so on the way to the other casino game, one man stopped and went, "Wow, you're stunning." And I said, "Oh, thank you. Have a nice night." Kept walking because I was getting into that like mind frame you see me get into where I'm irritated.
Like a real dick magnet.
Right. So then this woman walked up to me and she was like, "Oh my God, did you used to be a dancer?" And I went, "I'm pretty sure the dancer I used to be is probably different from the dancer you're thinking I am." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "I used to work at Disney as a dancer." And she goes, "Oh, no, honey, I meant like as a stripper. You look like you could be a really pretty stripper." And I went, "Oh, thanks." So I go to this other machine. I'm sitting way in the back. Charlie's already heard this story. And this guy comes back up to me, the same guy, the 62-year-old. And he goes, he's standing leaning up against the machine. He's like, "You're just unbelievably gorgeous. You're stunning." And I said, "Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus tonight." I stick the ticket in the machine. I hit 20 cents. I hit roll. Like, I'm winning. So at least I'm feeling good about that. But these people won't like leave me alone. So he leaves and comes back with a beer after I told him I didn't want a beer. So now he has 2 beers and he's like, "Well, I'm really interested in you. I don't know if you would be interested. Are you really here with friends?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Well, I'm staying at the Holiday Inn in room 409. And I would love to spend some time with you if you could sneak away from your friends."
Did you?
Jake,
I hope you did.
Julie's a mess. How do you think this story progressed?
Did you? I mean, let me ask you this before I continue. Was he at all attractive? Like, did you? No.
No. I mean, I didn't find him attractive.
All right, let me get some more lighting in here. 1 second.
I mean, maybe attractive like Peyton with the mustache at 62.
Oh, wow.
You know, like take our friend Peyton, make him like really old,
right,
and give him a mustache. And that's what this guy kind of looked like.
Yeah, my guess is one of two things. Either you ignored him and he walked away and you may have snapped at him and be like, "Okay, get off my back. I'm sorry, but you're like, I'm just not into you. Like, I'm really sorry." Like, so either that or you said, how much? How much? Like, okay, I'll do it if you give me this much.
It would have had to have been a lot. Like a lot. Like an indecent proposal, a lot. And maybe. But so he came back around with that beer, right? And he was like, come on, we could have a lot of fun. And he kept going, I think we can have a lot of fun. So finally, I turned around and leaned over the chair that I was sitting in. So I'm facing him. And I said, sir, I have a dick. Hoping that he would be like, oh, that's not what I'm into, and leave. I mean, Julie thought she was being really clever in the moment, even though she was probably opening herself up to be gunned down in this trashy casino. I really thought he'd leave me alone.
You're like, I have a dick.
And you know what he said, Jake? Do you know what he said, which was kind of insulting a little bit? I was like, ouch. He goes, yeah, I thought you might have. I was kind of hoping on it. He was like, I kind of thought you might have one, and I was kind of hoping you did. I'm really into that stuff. I was like, fuck my life.
Right.
Because now he's like really turned on. Now he's really turned on. So I was like, I am not interested. So then he was like, I thought you might be trans. And I said, I'm not trans. I'm intersex. There's a big difference. And then he leaned over and he was like, how long have you been trans? And I'm like, I swear to God, if I get murdered because you can't keep your fat trap shut. Like, so at that point, I pulled my money again. I walked over to security and I said to security, I said, there's a real creeper in here that won't leave me alone. And I'm not interested. And they were like, well, do you know him? No. Do you know his name? No. And I shout out really loud at that point. I was like, but he's staying at the Holiday Inn and he's in room 409 if you need to chase him down.
You said that?
I screamed it like in the casino because I was like, he's at the Holiday Inn and he's staying in room 409.
Good for you.
Go get him. And he left after that. He like made one more trip around the casino and left. But I was like,
yeah, of course. People are so creepy.
Like, of course.
I just like it's. So I was watching this really cute movie yesterday called The Dog's Journey because I'm so into doggies now, especially because I have my own dog, Cooper.
Cooper, where is Cooper?
He's right here. This is my dog, Coopy.
Hi, Cooper. Hi. Look at that face. Hi, Cooper. Hi.
Yeah. So anyways, like I was watching A Dog's Journey and there was like a scene where the main character is this girl who has her dog and her ex-boyfriend keeps on like chasing her and he grabs her and she doesn't want anything to do with him like after because he screwed her over because he got her in trouble at a party like because he put like something in her drink and then the cops came and she got arrested and they took her dog away and it was really sad. So like he got her in trouble. Then after that, he kept on going after her and he grabbed her and then he chased her in her vehicle. Like he what's the word? When you get really close to somebody's vehicle, tailgate. Like he tailgated her and he hit her and caused an accident and the dog died, which was really sad. I'm like, oh my God, men are just, and that's real. Like, I mean, that's a fictional story. Obviously.
Men are just animals.
But that's real. Like that's, I mean, people actually do crazy shit like that. And it's just like, what the fuck? Why do people have to be so creepy?
As Cooper jumps up on the couch.
I was afraid he was going to like press a key.
So now we're rolling in. It's about 6:34. Now we are rolling into 5 questions.
Okay.
So this is the part of the show where we, I get to ask you 5 questions. It can be things about us. It can be things about just you. but 5 questions in an effort to get to know you better. I know that you, when I first met you, you were working out at Disney, and you were in a slew of different hospitality roles. You had started in attractions, you had done hotels. Out of all the roles you worked at Disney, out of all the jobs you did at Disney, what was your favorite?
Honestly, boardwalk front desk was my favorite.
Working the front desk at the boardwalk. So in hospitality.
Hospitality, even though that did not end well, unfortunately, as you know that story. It was definitely my favorite. That was the best guest interactions. That was like, I feel like when I was most successful at Disney. It was just the most fun, and it was probably the highest paying as well. That was my favorite. Even though, like I said, unfortunately, that didn't end well, and that's kind of, how it ended was really made me go, I don't ever want to work on a frontline role at Disney ever again. But nevertheless, it was still my favorite.
Well, talking about some of your jobs, you worked in attractions for a while, and you became pretty popular at Disney. I know a lot of people always make the joke it's Jake from State Farm, even though, now they don't make that joke as much because Jake from State Farm is a person of color. Right. So, you did get a moniker while you were at Disney.
Jake the Cake. Yeah.
Jake the Cake. So tell everybody that story. Okay. Yeah. How did you get the nickname Jake the Cake?
All right. And before I get into this story, I just want to say, by the way, just so you know, my friend Zach is on his way over here to play with Cooper and just to hang out, but he'll just be in the background. If you want, I can introduce him to you as well. Is that okay? I just want.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, so here's my Jake the Cake.
Are y'all going to be making porn? Is that why he's coming over? I'm kidding.
No.
Kidding.
Anyways, so a long time ago, when my very first job ever, and my first job at Disney, I was in the Disney College Program, which, for those of you who don't know, is a big internship. Thousands of people come from all over the United States and all over the world. And obviously this was way pre-COVID. So, a lot of people. And that was my first job, was my internship, was my Disney College Program internship. And I worked at Star Tours, The Adventures Continue at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And I did my entire CP there, college program there. And after my college program ended, I was seasonal at Star Tours. So I was lucky enough to take on a seasonal position there at the same location. And I went to Chicago just to finish up like my first semester in college. But at like Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, I would go to get some work hours in, and just, for like a weekend or a few days or a week. Just to work. And I think it was January before my spring semester started, and I was there just to get some more hours in. And I was working at Star Tours, and I was assigned to the arrivals hallway, which is basically where they get off the ride, where you get off the ride and where you make sure that everybody has their personal belongings, that if they put their 3D glasses away, and a coordinator.
Nobody's having a seizure, all that fun stuff.
Exactly. Safety. And so a coordinator came up to me with a big box, with a white box that was taped shut, and he said, "Can you please hold on to this for me? It's for a guest, and he's in gate B." And if you could just hold on to it for him, you'll be off the ride. He'll take it from you. And I said, okay, cool, fine, whatever. And also a little bit of background. So the ride system, it's a big ride system. There's a tower control, which is basically a room. It's a small room with a bunch of computer monitors and cameras, and it's where you monitor the entire ride system. So it's everything from the ride, the show building, the queue, the arrivals hallway, literally everything is monitored. And there happened to be, on that particular day at that time, 3 training groups. And a training group consists of a trainer and a trainee. So that's 2 people. So 3 training groups, that's a total of 6 people. And you're all in this tower control, you're supposed to be watching the monitors, mainly the ride system. You cannot take your eyes off of the monitors. And if you're like caught with your phone, like texting and not looking at the monitor, it's like automatic termination. Like they're super, super strict about it. So all the training groups were there, like, and they were trainings, like they were like asking questions to their trainers, and but they were also watching all the monitors and monitoring the entire thing. And I was holding this box for a guest, and I had to scratch my nose. My nose was itching, and I had to scratch my nose, and I touched my face. So just normal, like my face itched, my nose itched. Somebody, so they no incident, nothing happened. The guest took the cake. It was fine. I go back to the break room, and everybody's looking at me like, what did you just do, man? And I'm like, what? Like, I was really confused. And somebody was like, so did you eat that cake? I was like, no. Well, what? Like, I was so confused. Like, so apparently there was a cake in the box. And somebody thought that they saw
saw you holding the box and then go up and scratch your nose like this, and they thought that you had tasted the cake.
And thought that I had tasted the cake. So that night, I'm back at my hotel or wherever I was staying, and I get a message from this one kid, one of my coworkers, who was like, "Is it true?" And I was like, "Is what true?" And he's like, "Oh, I heard you were termed." Termed is basically Disney's way of saying you're fired.
You're fired, right?
Right. And I said, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" He was like, "Oh, I saw you do it. I know you did it." I was like, "What do you mean? This is so weird. What is going on?" Like somebody, I swore I saw you put your finger in that cake, in that guest cake, and eat it. And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even remember seeing a cake. I held onto a box for a guest. I don't even know that a cake was in it. Like, this is crazy. But then I go into work the next day, but then I get a message from somebody else, from like 2 other people, like, "Oh man, like, I'm praying for you. I hope it's not true." Like,
if I remember the story correctly, and I'm just going to help move it along just for the dexterity of the show. Yeah. Essentially, you went back to work the next day. Management had to get involved.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like, literally. I went into work the next day. I was like, I need to speak to a manager right away. And they pull me like 30 minutes into the shifts. I get pulled by a manager, and I tell him like, "Hey, what's going on here? Like, this is ridiculous, And the manager was just like, "Well, I don't know what to say, because this seems so ridiculous, and I don't think it's really true. But rumors are spreading like wildfire. I just don't know."
People were saying that you ate the cake. And then after that, Jake became known as Jake the Cake.
And long story short, I never got termed.
He never got termed, but he would go. He never got any disciplinary action, but he would go to other parts of Disney to work, like at the hotels, not even an attraction. And people would be like, "You used to work at the studios? Your name's Jake? Wait, you're not Jake the Cake, are you?"
And literally, no. And later on, like years later, because I became an Uber driver, and I drive for Uber, and I get passengers who work at Disney. And one of the passengers worked at Star Tours, and he was like, "Oh my God, you're Jake the Cake." So apparently, I'm actually a part of the training materials in Star Tours. So now nobody can hold on to a box.
Can hold on to a birthday cake or a box or anything. Yeah.
Nobody, exactly. Like it's forbidden. I'm in the standard operating procedure. So, oh my God. My friend is here. I gotta let him in. 1 second.
Okay.
Zachy Poo. Oh.
Well, when he comes back, so we're waiting for him to come back. He's letting his friend Zach in right now, who's coming over to play with their dog, Cooper. But when he comes back, we've got 3 more questions to ask him, and then we'll be it's a great story, Jake the Cake. It's a great story. So Blair, you're right. That's a great story. When he comes back, we will be finishing up 5 questions with Jake the Cake. And then he will
to my friend Zach.
Yeah, he's right here. Hi, Coop. Cooper's gonna be huge.
Or you can just say hi to Cooper.
I know. Cooper's so cute.
Big dog.
Cooper is a puppy.
Yeah.
He's like, bye. Cooper looks like one of those dogs in Air Buds. Like, Cooper's like, I'm out. So, Jake, question number 3. What is your favorite memory of me?
Favorite memory of you? Gosh, there's so many. Tough to really pinpoint one. One of the most recent ones was you were doing a TikTok in my car. You were doing a lot of really funny TikToks, and it just you made me laugh a ton. I don't remember what it was about, but it was just hilarious. I don't think
and my TikToks. If you're not following me on TikTok, you should be. Miss America 19 Never. The link is right on justjuleigh.com. You can click on it. Jake in no way was plugging this. I'm not paying him to plug it, but you know, TikTok is TikTok, and who doesn't want to be TikTok famous? So if you're not following me on TikTok, make sure you are. A lot of you already are, because that's how you found out about justjuleigh.com. Let's see. Woo, woo. So let's see. Question number 4. What is one of your favorite places to go on vacation with Joseph?
Disney Cruise Line.
Disney Cruise Line. Y'all just went on one right before COVID, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we went on one only 3 weeks before the whole cruise industry shut down because of COVID. So, and that was amazing. But I mean, we want to go other places too. We want to go to Vegas, California. So there, obviously, you know, there's a ton of places to go to other than that. But yeah, that's probably my favorite.
Let's see. What is one of your favorite memories of us, you and I together? I mean, you mentioned the TikTok one in your car, but like, you've got to have like.
I mean, I know we bought this.
I feel like we've been on so many adventures together. You have to have a favorite.
Going to the casino in Tampa.
That was funny. That was funny. That's the night Chris. I won $3,000 and lost it because I couldn't pull myself away from the machine. And that was the night that Chris got on the broken machine and won like $500. And he was so excited. And all night long, I was like, if you don't shut up about your $500, I'm pushing you down the escalator. I was mad that night. But that was also the night that we all found out, courtesy of Joseph, that Peyton had a job working at pools in the summer.
Yeah. That's extremely famous.
Famous night.
Yes.
Okay.
I also remember you and Kyle, Chris's roommate. And
what about us?
Kyle used to tease you like so much and be like tease you like jokingly that you were like into or dating Peyton, and you were like, no,
no, because I really liked Kyle.
Oh God, yeah, because you really liked Kyle, but
I really liked Kyle, and Kyle was always joking around with Peyton.
You should be with Peyton. You should be with Peyton. I know.
But then we used to prank call Peyton too. Yeah. Then we'd prank call Peyton all the time.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Are you at the pool?" "Yeah, I'm at the pool." I'm like,
and then you would get like super like what or like annoyed.
I know. Okay, so this is the part of the show where, first off, thank you, Jake, for being with us this week. You've said that you've wanted to do the show since its inception, and so 25 episodes later, here you are with us.
Yeah.
I know Sean misses hanging out with you as well, so when I come to Orlando in October, we definitely have to make sure that we are getting together. Absolutely. I will be in Orlando if anybody is watching and wants to be in that area or meet with us or meet with me. I will be in Orlando for Orlando's Pride, which is happening, or Come Out with Pride, which is happening the 8th. Oh, it's the 9th. So that's Saturday. But the weekend of the 8th, 9th, and 10th, I will be in Orlando at Orlando's Come Out with Pride. So if any of you would like to come and meet me, that would be great. It's not a publicized event or a meetup, but we will be giving out information about where I'll be, so you can come see me. Yeah, see, Cooper's down. He's like, ruff, ruff.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So, but thank you, Jake. I'm going to ask that you stay with us a little bit longer once we end the show, so we can catch up real fast in the back end in the green room. But this is the part of the show where you get to ask me a question about my journey. It can be anything. You've taken me to a lot of appointments, so you may have a question set aside. Maybe it's something you've always wanted to ask and didn't know how to approach me, but you can ask me now. It gives me an opportunity to answer the question for a friend, but also educate the masses that may be watching the show or listening from Spotify or iTunes. So Jake, the floor is yours.
What was the most meaningful medical procedure or moments, I'd say, I would say like the best moments medically that I took you to for an appointment, that you were like, I'm so happy I did this, thank God, I'm so relieved, or like, you know, this is like the start of something totally new and like a new beginning in my journey as an XXY intersex. You know, what was that like aha moment? Like, I'm so happy I did this.
I mean, I never really had an aha moment because they've all been kind of like major in some ways or in one way or another. I think I appreciated the eye appointments that you would take me to, just because I was getting and still have to get and may have to start getting them again when I return to Georgia, eye injections directly into my cornea for macular degeneration, which was caused by being XXY. And that's where my retinas were bleeding. And so they had to stop the bleeding of the retinas. And then I go and get Atavastin injected right into the whites of my eyes. And so you would take me to those appointments every month usually. And I would always come out blind as a bat and couldn't see anything for like 4 hours. And you were always worried. But, you know, it was saving my eyesight. So, I mean, that was huge. And it was huge just to be able to have somebody willing to drive 30 minutes from the other side of Orlando to pick me up. They then take me to the eye appointment then, you know, and you would get me home and make sure I got home okay. And that, I mean, you took me to a lot of my appointments. So, I mean, and we always had a lot of fun, but the eye appointment was important and because it saved my eyesight.
Yeah.
And so that we had a lot of fun together though. Right. And so a lot of people don't realize that XXYs, I'm just going to roll right into this in finishing the show. A lot of people don't realize that XXYs, some of them can have a myriad of issues throughout their medical journey. Some don't, and then some do. We're all different. In that journey, one of the most important things in any medical journey and any life journey, your mental health acuity is super important.
Absolutely.
It's very important to make sure that you are doing self-care and that you have a support system and that you don't get down, and that if you do get down, and that would be the case with anybody that's going through mental health.
Yeah.
For intersex and the intersex community lately, there's been a lot of pushback that we don't exist. There's been, in the last couple of weeks, a lot of pushback that we're freaks. And it's been happening, not so much everybody else realizes it, but those of us in the intersex community have been having a really tough last couple of weeks, especially advocates, which is what I do. I advocate for the intersex community. The reason we're talking about this at the end is a very important individual in the intersex community. When I first started to claim my voice a couple of years ago and speak out about some of the injustices in our community and trying to find overall better health for people, she reached out to me on Facebook and said, you absolutely need to use your platform and the amount of followers that you have on different social media platforms to educate, and you need to tell your story. And that's the only way we're going to change perception. She was really big in fostering that in me. Yeah. And I found out last night that this past weekend, she went to go see a theater performance with her partner. And due to some extreme hate and pushback that she has been feeling and received in the last couple of weeks, she committed suicide.
That's so sad. That's awful.
Intersex people and people with disabilities, and I don't even want to say intersex, it's a disability because we fight against that. But there are people that are looked at as being different that absolutely are not, but they're having to battle with that on top of whatever else they're battling with on top. And I really wish she'd reached out to us, but I understand firsthand how it happened. And it's just really important going forward. And I say this all the time, kindness is absolutely 100% free. It costs nothing of you, of anybody, to be kind to somebody else. You never know what anybody's dealing with. You never know the battles that they may have on their shoulders or in their hands. And kindness to every person you come in contact with is absolutely free. And the difference is when you're rude and you're ignorant in your comments and you're not sure what you're talking about and you direct that at any other individual, you never know how that's going to affect that individual and if they're going to go home and have something really trying to try and overcome. Yeah. So we're leaving tonight's episode. It is my 25th episode, and I'm glad that everybody was able to join us.
I just want to quote, if it's okay. When given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kindness.
Always choose kindness. I love that. Kindness. I always, between being right or kind.
The movie is called Wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wonder. It's a beautiful
That's movie. The movie with Julia Roberts?
Yeah, Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson.
Yes, and that was a great movie.
I don't remember what the kid's name is, but he's really good. Yeah.
So thanks for joining us tonight on our 25th episode. Remember, Jake just said it. When it comes down to being right or kind, always choose kind. Yeah. And make sure that your mental health is in check. In the next couple of weeks, we will be adding links to justjuleigh.com, especially on areas that you can go and find out more about XXY and the intersex community and read and educate yourselves, but also in just finding common links for help if you're in a debilitating situation that you need to climb out of. We will definitely be putting up the National Suicide Hotline, as that is something that has affected me often in this journey and lifetime while I watch other people try and do the same thing I am doing, which is surviving in a very intersex life. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a blessing. Join us next week as we try another Rosé here on Rosé All Day. Julie's a mess. Jake, stay with us just for a second in the green room. And everybody else, I'll see you next week right here on justjuleigh.com.
For more content, follow justjuleigh.com. That's just Julie, JULEIGH.com. Thank you to our guests, and thank you for joining us this evening. Join us next week as Julie tries a different rosé.